This is Gary with Abiding Word, and let's talk about what really happened at the Astroworld Festival. For those of you who don't know, famous rapper Travis Scott had a concert called the Astroworld Festival in Houston, Texas recently, in the past few days actually. And there was a great tragedy at this concert. While he was performing, people started to press up towards the stage, and in doing so, many people felt suffocated. Several people were trampled on the ground and killed. There were actually 8 confirmed deaths. I even heard that one person had a heart attack, and it was really tragic. And everybody's talking about this right now. And there was a whole lot of weird stuff going on behind the scenes of all of this that has people thinking about conspiracies and things of that nature. But I want to talk to you guys about what I really think happened here. And of course, I'm going to give you guys a biblical perspective on this. And I'm not going to go too mystical with you guys or too deep in that area and go way over there. But I will talk about something that is a reality in people's lives and something that humans often find themselves doing. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. So, for you to better understand what I'm going to say here, I want to introduce you or expose you to something in the Bible called idolatry. Some of you watching this already know what that is because you're probably a Christian and probably have read the Bible, but some of you may not know what that is. Now, idolatry is when humans worship something other than God. When humans worship something other than God. Now, in the ancient pagan religion, you see it all over the Old Testament as well. People would often take an object like an animal, a bull per se, or something like that, and they would use this object as an object of worship. They would bow down to it, they will make sacrifices to it. And when we talk about sacrifices, we're not talking about animals, but they actually made child sacrifices to these idols. Actually, there was an idol called Baal, Baal, and people would take their children to this temple where Baal was, and there would be this hot burning slab, and they would put their child on the slab and burn the child alive as a form of worship and a sacrificial ritual to Baal. And the Bible actually mentions this and talks about it, and God is very angry about it. He hates it, and he promises to avenge those children. And so idolatry in human history has been the cause of a lot of great evil and chaos and disorder. And so let's go ahead and see how that applies to this Travis Scott Astro World concert. So people think that this was a sacrificial ritual, this concert that is, because of all of the imagery and the setting on the stage and everything. It looked like something symbolic. There was a giant mountain. The mountain was on fire. The mountain had a portal in the middle of it that said "See ya on the other side," which a lot of people thought that that was very strange. At the top of the mountain, you could see souls walking up the mountain. And I even heard that the portal, the way it was depicted, was people going into the portal and then coming out as demons. That was the animation that was taking place. And then there was an inverted cross coming out of the portal. It's a way to disrespect and blaspheme God and the Lord Jesus Christ. And so, just that added to this ideal of a portal and a burning mountain and people going up the mountain, people are really getting some conspiracies out of this. And I definitely understand. And the reason why is because in the Old Testament, the idol worship that I mentioned earlier always had something to do with a high hill or a high mountain because they were trying to reach gods. They were trying to ascend high so they could be in the presence of whatever God they wanted to worship. And when they got to the top of those mountains, they did whatever that God wanted them to do, at least in their imagination. And a lot of the times, what the supposed God wanted them to do, or the idol wanted them to do, had a lot to do with sexual immorality. There was orgies at the top of the mountains, and like I said earlier, child sacrifice at the top of the mountain. And so just the imagery that Travis Scott was putting off here at this concert really screams of some true idol worship, He had a purpose and an intent behind what he was doing, and the historical backdrop of what he was doing always had something to do with death and sexual immorality, chaos, wildness, just complete disorder. And so definitely I can see where the conspiracies came from. But here's where I want to take it. I just want to focus on this whole idea of idolatry. Now, idolatry is when you worship something or someone that is not God. And I looked at a lot of clips about what people were doing before the concert and after the concert, during the concert, and there was a lot of like riots taking place. People were like busting through security. They were pulling down fences that were supposed to create barriers and boundaries. They would like they were going wild, and people were overpacking elevators, causing the elevators to stop and break, and they had to be rescued out of the elevators. They were just going wild, losing all control, even leading up to the concert. And so the reason why this is so significant is because Travis Scott is the type of artist that has always tried to get people to go wild and go crazy and lose control. His music is kind of eerie. It's dark at times, and it can really sound pretty demonic at times. And he wants people to lose their minds and lose control. He wants people to go into a trance-like state. He wants people to just get wild, and he's succeeded. I mean, his concerts can get pretty crazy, but this time it got really, really crazy. See, these people at this concert, they were so consumed with Travis Scott or the portal that was behind him. I don't know. But they started to press forward to try to get to him, to try to get closer to the stage. And in doing so, 8 people died. Now, this is crazy because no man, no human being, other than Jesus Christ, who was the God man, right? But no human being should have this much influence, should be this wanted or desired to where people lose their minds, that people die as a result. That is just crazy. And so this is idolatry at its finest right here, because we do live in a culture where people idolize artists, where people idolize celebrities, where people idolize the rich, the wealthy, and to a point where they're willing to do whatever that person says for them to do, whatever that person desires for them to do. And in this case, people were so focused on trying to get to Travis Scott as if being close to him was going to do something for them, that people got trampled and killed, you guys, and that's terrible. And so I just wanted to give my perspective on that and just say that what I saw at the Astroworld Festival was idolatry. People were worshiping Travis Scott. They fell into whatever atmosphere he was trying to set, and as a result, people died. And I do hold Travis Scott partially responsible for this because, like I said, throughout his career, he's made a point to try to get people to lose control, to go wild, to start a riot, to like, just go buck wild, go crazy, right? And he gets energized by it, and if we really go mystical here. I said I wasn't gonna do, but if we try to go like a little mystical here, that's what Satan wants. That's what the devil wants. That's what demonic entities want. They want chaos, disorder, violence, immorality. They want sin to run rampant. And so Travis Scott is just being a vessel for those demonic influences, and people actually were influenced by it, and we saw real deaths, real lives were lost that night. And you guys, that is terrible. So I just want to warn you on idolatry. Do not give your worship and your reverence to anybody but God himself. He's the only one that deserves it, and he's the only one that in worshiping him, you're actually going to do good and love your neighbor. There's actually going to be order. Lives won't be lost as a result of worshiping God. He is good. And so whenever you see somebody putting somebody on a pedestal, and the result of that is that they lose control and they do evil things, and death happens, tragedy happens, you know that that is not the true God. That's not God who they're worshiping. They're worshiping a man. They're worshiping someone corrupt. They're worshiping demonic influence. And so it's really dangerous, you guys. Anyways, that's my take on what really happened at the Astroworld Festival. Idolatry at its finest. Go look at the Old Testament. Just Google what does the Bible say about idolatry, and you can see all the evil practices that always accompany idolatry and how people degrade themselves down to a primitive state and begin to do all kinds of wild and crazy things, tragic things that no one would really want to see. So that's my take on that, you guys. I love y'all, and just beware of these people out here. Beware of the satanic system, and I want y'all to be blessed and be safe out there. Peace out.